My leadership style is very much on the open door. Anybody can come in and ask me things about anything. My first 18 years, I was never a good student. I was always good at promoting, and promoting in a big, big way. A team will always potentially win better than an addition of individualities. You cannot run businesses based on fear.
Luxury Tribune presents Reloading Luxury with Audemars Piguet. Episode 3, Leadership by François-Henry Bennahmias. Today, Audemars Piguet is one of the big five of the watchmaking industry worldwide. It was not the case 10 years ago when François-Henry Bennahmias became CEO. In 2012, the brand produced 32,000 watches. In 2023, the production will reach 51,000 pieces. The industrial structure that AP is currently building could bring the brand up to 70,000 watches a year. In other words, Audemars Piguet multiplied its turnover by 4, reaching 2 billion Swiss francs today. In 2025, it will celebrate its 150 years anniversary. To understand the secrets behind that success, we will explore the workforce in place, meet the young talents, the creators, and the mastermind behind it all. Audemars Piguet is not just a brand, it's a mindset. But the question is, will it last, now that François-Henry Bennahmias is leaving the company at the end of 2023? The CEO opens up to Cristina D'Agostino, editor-in-chief of Luxury Tribune, in an exclusive conversation at the brand's historic headquarters at Le Brassus, in the Vallée de Joux. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Vous allez bien? Très bien, merci beaucoup.
Quoi, Xia? Aujourd'hui, ça va envoyer du lourd, je vous le dis.
Ah, c'est bien. On est venu au bon moment alors.
Asseyez-vous, vous ne paierez pas plus cher. Installez-vous, faites tout ce que vous voulez.
So we are in the middle of your office, surrounded by a couple of personal belongings. If it's possible, I would like you to show me which one are your preferred ones.
So we're going to start with the real beginning, because the real beginning is that picture. So that picture has been with me for 20 plus years. In 2000, 125th anniversary of Audemars Piguet. I'm in New York City. Audemars Piguet is not what it is today. Obviously, we're completely unknown. And we got the absolute unique chance to host a charity event where the two co-chairs were Arnold Schwarzenegger and Muhammad Ali. They had never met each other before.
Wow.
So we managed to actually get them to work together to help us raising as much money as possible to celebrate the 125th anniversary of Audemars Piguet. That picture is unique, and that has been with me. That's my lucky charm. It has been with me all the time, and it will go with me. Then the second important one, I would say, because everybody who knows me well, it's Yoda.
Yes.
Why Yoda? Because I've been a major, not Star Wars, because people think that I'm a Star Wars fan. No, I'm a Yoda fan. Yoda because when you look at him, he's extremely ugly, but he's very cute in his ugliness, as far as what we know. So he's actually becoming more beautiful. The second thing is he's 900 years old, but he's the ultimate power. So cute in his ugliness, extreme power when he looks very weak and old. And he said something important in the second movie then, which was The Empire Strikes Back. He said at some point, do or do not, there is no try. I'm a firm believer in that. In life, you do or you don't. You can make mistakes, you can fail, but you go back at it, but you don't try. The second you say, I'm going to try something, it means that you leave the door to potential not making it. No, you go with full commitment and you'll see what happens. Okay. The third one is right here, 2005, because that's a milestone not only for Audemars Piguet, not only for the watch world, but for the luxury world. Because when we launched the watch together with Jay-Z in 2005, at that time, no brands, not in the watch world, no one in the luxury world would actually touch hip-hop or rap. We were the first one at that time, and the thing that you see in my office is an extract from the Financial Times in the history of Audemars Piguet. This is the very first time we arrived. We made the Financial Times because of partnership with Jay-Z. So when we get celebrities coming here, especially from the music world coming to the office, I tell them all, the only reason why you're here today, it's because of this. And then the last but not least, the one below, Quincy
Jones.
So Quincy Jones, which we work with twice with special watches. I met Quincy for the first time in 2003. And on the other side of my office, I got a special diploma from him, which I'm very, very proud of, because through one of the events we put together in New York, years later, at some point I put some of his music, and I started to dance. And he looked at me and he said, "But you're not white. You're black." I said, "Yeah, I've been telling you this for ages." So I've got a diploma from the Quincy Jones University where he made me a honorary black man due to my dancing skills. Wow. That's what it is.
It's a pity it's not a video today. There is one article in the Business Harvard Review that tells that more leaders should read science fiction and be inspired by it. What do you think?
First of all, I don't read much, but I watch a lot of things. I was reading when I was younger. But I would say in terms of, I've always been pretty much impressed and willing to go to the future. I would love to fast forward. I'm not sure I would love to travel back, maybe except for 1 or 2 decades, but I would love to travel in the future, to be in 2150 or 2240 or something and see what's going to happen. So for me, to project yourself tomorrow has always been something which is dear to me somehow. So whether I'm going to read about sci-fi or not, different story. But I've got good sci-fi memories about movies that I saw where I say, that could happen one day.
And inspired by the way they are thinking in the science fiction.
But the way they are thinking is basically that there is no wall between what you can think about today and what could happen tomorrow. Not always for the best, by the way.
Tell me more.
Very simple. Artificial intelligence. You could look at it today as something which is so cool and great, and it's going to be so unbelievable for the world, when tomorrow it could become Terminator, where the machines would take over and the humans would be...
Are you afraid of it?
I look at this as a real possibility.
Let's talk about leadership. I would like you to define what is your leadership style.
First of all, my leadership style is very much on the open door policy. Anybody can come in and ask me things about anything. It's not always about work. I spend a lot of time with people just talking also about their lives. And leadership is really giving a chance to everyone to potentially bring value to the things we do every day. When I look at what I've done in the last 11 years, the common denominator is this: give a voice to everyone. And it's an everyday job to actually make sure that people work and are aligned to work together towards the same goal, which means that strategy has to be extremely clear for everyone. Anybody has to understand why we are doing what we are doing, exactly what we do and how we're going to do it. And you foster this every day. Difficult when you grow at the speed we've grown for the last 11 years, because when I took the helm of the company, we were 1,200 people, and well, this year, 2,700 people. So 1,500 people more came into the world of Audemars Piguet with 2 years of COVID, which means impossible for many people just to know and connect and meet each other. That's a tough one to put together.
What makes your leadership today?
Because I really, truly love people. I love spending time understanding them as well, and not just for the job. And that has been me my entire life. Don't ask me why. Recently, I was with a doctor who were asking me a lot of questions about how I am as a person. And he managed, after half an hour of conversation, to tell me exactly what drives me. And he said, learning. And it's funny because I was a very bad student in school. My entire school life was very bad. But I love learning. loving. I love to love, and this is me, and in a peaceful way, as surprising as it could sound when you know me. But I aspire with peace. And 3 days ago, I was seeing another doctor who, through a magnetic resonance, which I've never done before, look at my chakras. I don't pay attention to those type of things. My biggest one by far, the heart one. He said, "You've got a big heart." I say, "Good, confirmed." Nothing more.
Can you tell us more about your roots? Where do you come from?
Where do I come from? A little suburb place in Paris called Châtenay-Malabry. My first 18 years, okay, I was never a good student. I didn't like the system in which I was put in, which didn't stop me to learn because I didn't stop going from one level to the other. But I failed drastically at baccalaureate, the graduation, but drastically, not even come back this summer for a second test. No, out, gone completely. I went back the following year for 2 months, and I left in the middle of a class saying, "I'm done with school. I will not go to the university. I will not do anything anymore like this. This is not me. I'm going to learn on my own." And that's what I did. And I told my dad, and my 2 parents had high diplomas and all those type of things. And when I was
With brother and sisters, or?
One brother, who did even worse than me. 1 week before graduation, he left. But it's funny because when I was 23 and he was 21, we asked our parents why they were so cool in the sense of letting us do pretty much whatever we wanted because we could have failed drastically. And the answer from my dad was very simple. He said, "We always thought that you were not too stupid, so you would make it somehow," which is pretty cool coming from a dad.
Pretty cool.
No, so I had zero. No, I didn't have zero, but I went through so many different things. I want to work with the police. I wanted to become I don't know how you say, it's not an inspector, but commissaire, which is a higher level. Why? Because when I was very young, when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, my mother was a teacher. And she had in her class 2 kids that were the sons of the biggest guy in France, was working for the crime entity. And he was always sharing story with us. So we were kids and we said, "Oh, I want to do that one day. I want to do what he does." Basically to go after the bad people and to make the world a better place. Okay? That stayed with me for quite some time. Then I looked at the hospitality world. And I told my dad, "Okay, so I'm going to work in the hotel business. I want to go to the École Hôtelière of Lausanne." And that was money already at that time. And I said, "Okay, under one condition." He said, "You're going to let me give you a job for the summer." I was 16 years old. "You do that job, you do it well, potentially I will entertain the idea of sending you to Lausanne." And he made me work at the Monoprix cafeteria in Opéra in Paris. 3,000 people per day. I was working in the kitchen. And I resigned 2 days before the end of the 30 days. I didn't even last the 30 days. I said, "This is never going to be me. I'm out." I told my dad, "You're not going to spend money. I'm not going to do that job ever." So I left. But then I started to play golf when I was 15, and I wanted to become the number 1 player in the world. And this is what I started to do when I was 18 years old. And I stopped when I was 23 because I was failing as well. I was not going to become at all the number 1 in the world, not even the number 1 in France. So that's a story. I was always good at promoting, and promoting in a big, big way. True story, I'm 7 years old, and we live in Châtenay-Malabry. It's a residence where you've got 15 buildings, 3 floors each. And I say, "You know what? There is something we could do. We could deliver the croissants and pain au chocolat and baguettes to the people in the residence every weekend. They're going to pay a premium for that." I was 7 years old. And I said to my brother, 2 years younger, 5, "You're going to help me. We're kids. It's going to work because people will never say no to kids." So we started to knock on doors, okay, everywhere and say, "What about we give you a service on weekends where we deliver the croissant and pain au chocolat and baguettes and everything?" And we're taking orders. Then obviously, 7 and 5 years old, we had to go with our dad, okay, to see the bakery store next door, and we made a deal. So we would come with our dad, pick up the staff, and go with the little boxes to every place. It was pretty much 90 apartments all in. So that would be a good business, okay? And people were willing to pay a premium, except that my brother didn't want to go out of bed after the third week because it was starting very early in the morning. Some people want their breakfast at 6:30 or something, so we had to stop because my brother couldn't help me. And there was no way I would have done this on my own. But just to give you the mindset, I always had the mindset of selling, promoting, giving services, and finding business where basically there is no business. That was me. And I've always liked that. So to me, at some point, I knew I was good in being with people, promoting things. Now, whether it would be watches, fashion, or anything else, I don't know.
Why did you create the Padawan concept?
It came on the idea that I've got a mentor, which I met when I was 15 years old. He was the one that offered me a job when I left golf because I couldn't make it. And I joined him to work in the fashion world for 7 years. And he will be basically the most important person in terms of learning in my life in that respect. And I said that what could I do now to actually try to help the same thing and do the same thing with people? So that's why we picked up Padawans, so very smart, young people from here working for the company that are following me in everything pretty much I do, except here today. And they learn how to become potentially the future CEOs of the world.
What was interesting is that your colleagues praised also the way Audemars Piguet is looking at them. You look at them previously because who they are before the professional skills. And do you think that's the way to speak to the young generation now?
Always. I'm going to give you a perfect analogy. If you take on paper today for a football team, I'm going to make people laugh on that one. And let's talk about Paris Saint-Germain, for example. Okay? And you take the best numbers, okay, on the field. You take the best number 10, the best number 9, the best number 8, the best this. You take the best of the best. They won't win. If they don't work as a team, they will not win. And many people made that mistake, saying, I've got all the money in the world. I'm just going to finance the success. It doesn't work. And many people have failed to think that way. When I look at resumes, when I do interviews with people, okay, I'm going to do it, cross-referenceability here and there, but not much. Now I'm going to check how you are the person, because basically I know who you're going to work with, and I want to make sure that you guys are going to connect. Because if you don't connect, as good and talented as you are, you will not work as a team. A team will always potentially win better than an addition of individualities. And if you don't understand that, then you have to do something else. That's what we've been working on at Audemars Piguet for quite some time now. And that's what people understand. Because it's not only because of your diploma or your skills, because your skills have to be human skills. How do you really connect with people? How are you going to help people if they fail or if they are not doing their job properly? Are you going to crush them because you're that strong? Or are you going to actually take their hand and help them? It's a completely different story.
That's what Jasmine did with you?
I guess she had to at some point.
Jasmine Audemars, sorry.
Don't forget, but I've rarely been headhunted in my life. And I know why. Because people couldn't put me in boxes. When you think about it. I don't fit for any box. I don't check those boxes. I'm outside of these boxes. Does it stop me to run a company which is what it is today? No. So it's not like many other things in life. It's not one size fits all. Always remember that. It's not one size fits all. It's much more how do you adjust, adapt quickly to things which are coming your way. And for this, you have to be willing to keep learning all the time. As much as you get older and you say, oh, I know. No, you don't know. You don't really know. So you have to be okay to keep learning all the time and keep going back to the blackboard and say, okay, I thought about this. This what was working for 10 years. This is not working anymore.
Keep learning is also maybe what you do when you have this 2 minutes with the CEO, maybe.
So to get a sense, to get a real vibe of what's going on in the company, you spend 2 minutes with the employees. 2 questions. 1, what's your level of happiness when you push the door every single day from 1 to 10? And 2, if you could do anything, what would you change now? But changing could be something very technical, directly linked to what they do every day for the company, or it could be just we don't talk to each other enough, we don't have enough free time for this, the coffee is not a good one, many, many things. The good news is when you're done with the 2,700 employees, you get at least a good 5 to 10 major things that will allow you to actually adjust and correct the mistakes made. And by the way, by doing this, you also get people to be much more responsible, because sometimes people complain about things that they are the actors of. Okay? I don't have enough communication with my peers. But do you communicate with them yourself? No, that's not going to help. So maybe you're the first one we should do actually this. Go with them. They might start to come to see you and talk to you. It goes both ways. You have to be two to tango all the time. It's never just the other ones. At some point, if something doesn't really work, you are a part of the responsibility of something not working.
What was the most amazing thing that you heard during these 2 minutes?
It's not a matter of amazing. It's you get ideas that will help you actually keep bringing people together in different ways. It's different things here and there that put together could bring the company to a completely different level, but it's never the Everest.
How does it impact you personally?
It impacts me in several ways. First of all, if, for example, I say, I want people to act as yellow, and I know that some managers do not deliver the message and let people potentially understand that they have to act as orange, it bothers me. It means that the message doesn't go completely through the end, which means we're going to have an issue. That's one. The second thing is sometimes it gives me a sense of, should we slow down a little bit? Should we go faster on certain other things? People don't get answers to questions they ask. How come? Our line of comment should be a lot faster sometimes, or sometimes we are pushing people too hard. We have to slow down because I feel now it's global, something I would never get through a meeting with executives that would just report. No, you have to listen and feel. So in that respect, it's going to make me adjust accordingly depending on what I'm hearing. And because I'm a very action-driven person, then I go to the managers and say, guys, I've been hearing this like 20 or 30 times. It's time to move on here. So I'm going to give you 3 months. If I ask the same question in 3 months, it's done.
Could you just tell me, how were you as a boss 10 years ago and how did you evolve?
I've always been extremely competitive and driven. And for many, many years, I wanted to apply my drive to everybody else, which meant I was very rarely thankful when people were doing things right. I was much more upset when things were not working the right way. So I was putting pressure a lot more. Lately, I would say lately for the last 3-4 years, I moved to a completely different direction where it's much more about coaching now and helping and understanding, listening more. Before, no, it was just we are not where we are supposed to be, we're going to get there. And go, 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 go. Always bringing people together, don't get me wrong, but through a lot of pressure. Let's go. Now it's not about putting the pressure, it's putting the right pressure at the right time.
What happened to make you shift that way?
I got older.
Did you turn 50 or what? No?
I'm 58. Come on. No, but you get older, so you get wiser. You are smarter about the way things are because now you've got the experience of running a team and you see the way people react. You see the successes and the failures, what works, what doesn't work, and you adjust accordingly. If you are willing to also go back on your own way of thinking and say, maybe I need to adjust a little bit. Because people tell you. So if one person tells you, you say, no. If 20 people tell you, there is some truth there. So you adjust.
What's for you the definition of a good idea or a smart idea?
First of all, I'm going to answer on a complete personal level, not a company level. It's something where I'm going to say, I want it tomorrow. If I hear something which clicks, I say, oh, I want this like right now. But when I say right now, it was the minute before and the minute after. We are doing it right now, which sometimes has created issues because I'm piling project on projects and projects. Obviously, and people say, François, we have only 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 ears. We have to be careful on not putting too much. So on the first instinct thing is, we're doing it now. But then ideally, it's because it's always about timing, because you could have a good idea today that actually will be a good idea for 10 years from now, or from 10 years ago. So, okay, fine. So timing is everything. So a good idea, ideally, it's happening now.
And what kills a good idea?
Heaviness of an organization. And I'm sure that we have these issues as well sometimes, because some people bring ideas and we cannot, first of all, do everything. Because when you become bigger and bigger and bigger, by definition, you're less agile. It's more difficult because people want to put control in place, which is normal. The world of business has evolved a lot over the last 20 years. Compliance on everything you have to report and do, even though we are not a public company. But there are many, many things that you have to go through no matter what. And potentially, the whole organization becomes heavier. The other thing is, it's a disease not for Audemars Piguet, but for the entire world. It's called the emailite aigu. So today, people work with emails most of the time. People don't talk to each other enough anymore. And you got a load of emails sent, or that you sent, or that you receive every single day. And it kills a little bit the agility as well, because basically people try to protect themselves, but it's not as efficient as sometimes just picking up the phone and say, oh, what about this?
But now you decide to leave the company.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I want to become the number 1 singer in the world. And I'm going to start with the Olympia in January 2024. No.
Okay, we'll listen to you now.
No. Why am I deciding to leave? Because I'm 58 years old. I would have been at the helm of the company for 11 years. And there are many other things I want to do with my life before I stop working, if I ever stop working. And it's the right timing. I've done what I wanted to do with AP and I want to move on. I know I'm leaving at the end of the year. People are shocked, even people here from the company, of my commitment every single day. And I talk in meetings, we had just a meeting before, when I say we, when I talk about the years 2024, 25, 26, 27, this will always be a part of me no matter what. I would have spent 29 years of my life at Audemars Piguet. That's not something you can actually erase ever. So I still have the passion, I still have the commitment, and I will have this until the last second. At the same time, I know it's time for me to do something else because I really want to do other things. Do not ask me what they will be. I will not answer that question.
No worry. What will last after your departure?
Hopefully, the culture and the spirit I managed to put together for the last 11 years. There is really a culture at Audemars Piguet today. And I hope that that will stay on for a long, long time. I hope that the company will stay very human-driven. And I hope that we're going to keep doing on what we do best, which means innovating in mechanisms, materials, and everything, and still surprise the world in the best possible way. My legacy, if at some point we were now in 2045 and people will say, oh, by the way, when François Bennahmias was running the company, what happened then? I want to be remembered as someone that really put people together to create the exceptional. Yeah.
If I had to ask you, how do you define Audemars Piguet yourself? What would it be? What kind of words would you use?
A serious company that doesn't take itself seriously. A brand that doesn't stand still. We're always on to something else. And we really leave the doors open to pretty much anything that could happen in terms of creativity and innovation. We don't control this too much. And we want, it could sound cheesy, but we want joy here. I want to hear laughs and fun and things, because it cannot always be just pressure and everybody, their eyes on their computers and everything. No, it has to be fun as well.
How do you see luxury business now evolving more with star system, with Virgil Abloh, who was a great designer, but now, for example, in Louis Vuitton, they appointed
Pharrell Williams.
Do you think that will happen to the watchmaking industry too?
I don't know. It's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. But don't forget, it's not new. the fact that brands have been using names from different fields, sport, entertainment, for decades and decades. Nothing is new here at all. What's the big difference is, because of social media, the reach is a lot bigger. But this has been going on for years and years and years. Now, don't forget something else. Creative minds. This is what the world is about today, being more creative and going out of the norm, thinking out of the box. Who better than creative people could do that? Now, the creative people could be artists, singers, whatever they could be, I don't care. So I'm not closing the door to anything, but I'm not opening the door to anything. It depends. You know, an organization works on two things, and two things only. Creativity and innovation. That's the value proposition. And organization. That's to last, to get the distance. One doesn't work without the other. Because if you get a company about creativity, they will not last. It's impossible. You need an organization. If it's only about the organization and no creativity, no innovation, you will not go anywhere because you will not be relevant to today's world. So it's the actual perfect combination of both that makes a success. So in that respect, who knows and why not? Who says today that should not happen? I would have to know that. You actually never know completely. Never. It's not a perfect science. So the only thing you can hope for is you keep the balance going. Sometimes it's going to go towards much more organization. And something like COVID could have an impact. COVID comes, it's organization first. What do we do with the people? But while we have COVID as well, what's a new world? It's going to tell us. How do they want? Are people going to realize that maybe luxury items are not as important anymore? Or they're going to go completely insane and party like there is no tomorrow? You don't know. So the fine line between the two is always being aware and always willing to accept that no matter what you do, you have to adjust and adapt. Always. And as big as you become, you need to remain very agile, because if you're stuck to only one way of being, at some point it's going to catch up and affect you. And you won't be able to react accordingly if something very bad happen or something very good happen, for argument's sake. You never know completely. You can feel that it's right, and the success of a brand will, in a case like us, is going to be about sales and respect from the clients and what our clients are telling us, but that could change quick. So always be on your toes. You cannot run businesses based on fear or concerns. You run businesses based on your ideals in life and what the brand could stand for. Where do you want to go? And you have to be very clear about your objectives. Because the second your objectives are not precisely exactly what you want them to be, no one's going to follow. They have to understand exactly what the purpose is every single day. And if that's clear, that's a lot more helpful. For this, very clear goals. And then things happen, for the better or for the worse. And then you adjust accordingly. But you can never run a business based on concern or fears. Never. The second you do that, you're dead, because you're going to second guess everything you do. You're going to have people that tell you, oh, but if we make that move, you see, that could happen. Yes, but if I just think about this, it's going to happen actually. And we don't want that. Go with what you believe is right. That's your core things, what your guts tell you. And we are not born yesterday either. We've been running this company since 1875. It's almost 150 years with crisis, wars, okay? And we're still here. So somehow we could say anything we want, but we've done things more on the right side of them than on the wrong side of them. Keep going. Are we going to have issues? Are we going to go through major crises again? Yes, we will. Are we maybe slightly more ready than others to go and to weather storms? Absolutely.
Just one or two last questions. What are your objectives now?
Celebrate good times. Come on. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to travel everywhere. I want to say goodbye to all my friends here and there. I know that wherever I'm going to go, it's going to be celebrations. I hope I'm not going to put on 10 kilos by celebrating, but no, I'm paying attention to this year. But it's about celebrating what we've achieved over this course of all these years and saying bye-bye, not adieu.
What would you like to tell them?
Beside the fact that I really truly love them, what I would love to tell them, it's a tough one because there are things that I would love to tell them. I will tell them, but I won't tell you. But things I can tell them officially is, you guys are the best, so keep doing what you do. Don't forget everything we built. Cherish it, because you got many, many, many more years of absolute happiness if we keep doing what we do now. And you're great at it, so keep doing this.
I'm sure. And your objectives after?
I know much more what I don't want to do ever again, much more than what I want to do.
May I ask?
Yes, I will not just work for somebody else ever again.
So you will build your own box?
Box or boss?
Both.
Yes. Yes.
François-Henry Bennahmias has and will continue to tick his own boxes. But so has Audemars Piguet as well. For almost 150 years. One thing is certain. The brand will continue to write its own original story for many years to come. Reloading Luxury with Audemars Piguet, a podcast presented and produced by Luxury Tribune in collaboration with Audemars Piguet, La Souris Verte and Cornland Studio.